So, Navina, a lot of our conversations with our guests on this podcast have discussed goal setting and how do you accomplish something that you want to achieve. And I think everyone has a different approach to when they decide they want to go for something. How do you tackle that? So I'm curious of what your approach is when you decide that you're actually going to go for it. What do you do?
I think one of the things that's the hardest not to do is not to think too far ahead. I think sometimes we look at our goals in 5 to 10 year increments, and life doesn't turn out that way. So when I'm looking at, I want to pursue a new opportunity or whether it's professional or personal or a hobby, or I want to try something new, give yourself a period of time. And in my world, I would give myself no more than like 12 months because it's hard to plan further. And that may be contrary to other advice or perspectives, but I find that when you plan too far in advance, it limits the opportunities that may come along your way that may not fit into your idea of a plan. And so your professional journey, you need to be open to new opportunities and possibilities. And if you're so focused on my plan for the next 5 years or 10 years is to do da, 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 life may have something else in store for you. And so I try not to plan more than like 12 months in advance.
And so if you plan for a 12-month goal, how do you approach that? I mean, sometimes I feel like just the pressure of achieving something can be overwhelming. And sometimes it's just the tiniest step to move you towards that that's the most effective. So, um, in your 12-month plan for this hypothetical goal, what is your approach? Like, do you time block spots for it in your calendar? Do you just wing it? Do you have an accountability buddy?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But I don't wing it. I would say that within that time, I am highly structured, both professionally, personally, and otherwise. So that is also because you're busy. And if you want to get shit done, you have to schedule it. In my life, you have to schedule it if you want it to happen. I schedule my workouts and I know that I need an accountability buddy. So if I'm going to be at Barry's for a 6 a.m., I will text my girlfriend the night before and say, okay, we're on. So I know someone's counting on me to show up. And yes, that's a shout out to Barry's because they have an awesome workout. But then it's also, I time block chunks throughout my day, throughout my week, because otherwise life escapes you and then you end up not being purposeful with your time. I will time block grocery shopping. Now, that might be another level of neuroses, and I'm happy to get into it. But in the life of a busy woman, professional woman with 3 kids that are running in a million directions, if I don't schedule it, it might not happen. And these kids got to eat. So I need some food
I
in this
agree.
house.
I think time blocking is the absolute best thing to start doing. And even if that block needs to move around in your day because something comes up, the block is there. And I think that's the key is that you have set time aside to do X, whether it's a workout, whether it's some sort of learning, whether it's grocery shopping. You've blocked that time for that activity and you can adjust. You can be fluid. You flex, but make the time for it. My personal strategy is a little bit of both. I think that the best way to accomplish something is to just get going. Even the smallest little step will move you towards that goal faster than having this huge extensive plan. And kind of contrary to what you said at the beginning, I had a mentor very early in my career that said plan in decades. And that's not planning like I want to have a baby when I'm 25. I want to do it's like what do you want your life to look like 10 years from now? And so it's the concept of I have a family now. They're going to get older. What does my life with my family look like 10 years from now? Where are we going to be? What does my life look like? And I think when you think about it that way, it's not, I want to achieve all of these goals, but then you're making decisions to work towards that versus having this very finite plan. Because to your point, you have to leave room for serendipity and you have to leave room to say yes to things that you haven't planned for. And those things might actually help you get to that goal faster than something you've planned.
Right. I think the reason why I manage things in like a 12 to 18 month chunk is that it helps you manage through the inadvertent challenges along the way that you may not have anticipated without this fear of failure or disappointment because you are somehow being deviated from that longer term goal or vision. And that I think is helps to cultivate perhaps a more resilient attitude towards, okay, well, I didn't plan for this, but this is what's happening. So I've got to persevere. I have to get through it. I have to use my determination and my strength to continue to build and grow and develop and move forward. Um, when I think about also, maybe it's because I don't know what I wanna be when I grow up. Like, if someone were to say, "Where do
Who
you see
does?
yourself
I
in
don't
10
know.
years?" I have no idea how to answer that question. I don't even know where I wanna be in 5
No,
years.
me neither. I do not know what I want to be when I grow up either. And I think that if you had asked me in university, I was incredibly structured in when I was a young adult and I had very clear plans for what I wanted my life to look like. And I think that if you had asked me then where I would be in a very different place. And I'm quite happy with where I've ended up. So again, there's that room for serendipity and there's room for the unplanned that puts you in a place that you never would have dreamt up because you don't know all the options for your life.
That's right. Yes. And and the adventure awaits. And I think if you view your life as an adventure, it's exciting. Every year I do a vision board with my kids, and it's fun to have those now. We've had them we started during COVID because we needed something to look forward to. But I bought, those big bristle boards and we buy magazines and we cut just different images out of what we want the year to look like. And it's funny now to look through. We have like 5 years of vision boards.
I love that story. It's a
That's
good
true.
activity and it kind of teaches your kids the same message, right? Like you can plan for your life, but um you need to have room to say yes to things. And I also think those
Yes.
vision boards are nice to have, like you said, to look back on because if I had a vision board for my life, I think a lot of things would have connected, but I didn't purposely make those choices. I think that, if you have that thing to look at and then it's in your brain, you're making those choices, you're moving towards that goal, but sometimes it's you don't recognize that until you look back at it.
And then we all have our vision boards hung up in our room. So I look at my vision board every
Oh,
day.
that's a great idea. I'm gonna start doing that. My
Yeah,
kids are small. They're gonna
it's
be
fun.
Legos and, Legos.
It's great for them to think about, gosh, what are my hopes for the
Mhm.
year? But it is, I want to spend more time in nature. I want to ride horses. I'd like to try this thing that's new. And then you see it every day because um it's up in their
I
rooms.
love that. My husband, when we started dating, has this goal that he wants to sail around the world. That's what he told me 10 years ago when we started dating, and I get very
And you
well, I
still
still
married him?
married him, and I get very motion sick. So, he told me this, and I was like, "I'm gonna crush this guy's dreams because there's no way I'm sailing around the world." But it's something that we keep talking about, and we actually took sailing lessons because again, I was like, if I'm gonna crush his dreams, I wanna crush them early. But I actually had a really good time, and this is something that I never, ever would have thought about. And so, very slowly, we are working towards a school where, we would take some time off when our kids are a little bit older and it's less of a safety hazard that they're on a sailboat. Maybe when they're 10 and 12, who knows? But we would wanna take some time
Right.
off and just live abroad and be on a sailboat. I have not committed to sailing around the world, but I have committed to spending time on a sailboat. So, these are all things that I never would have planned for, but I'm so excited about.
But that's great. You bring out your vision with someone else, and that's an exciting part of this adventure of life is to say, how are you choosing to build memories and adventures with your family, with your partner, with your friends? And I think as we navigated through COVID and all of those restrictions, now I find this desire to travel and to see the world and to take time, unstructured time, and spend it with the people whom you love is more more
Yeah,
pronounced now.
absolutely. I mean, the pandemic was not fun for anyone, but I think the silver lining is we got this new perspective about what's important. And so, having those goals and dreams that you're working towards is such a good thing, and enjoying the journey to get there is the best.
So I would love to hear from our listeners. How do you approach goal setting? Do you do the 12 to 18-month plan? Are there others out there that are doing vision boards with their families? And how do you navigate through the challenges that inevitably come your way?